Hi, I'm Kathleen Howland from Berklee College of Music, where I teach in the departments of music therapy and liberal arts. And there I teach the neuroscience of music, why it matters so much to the human race. And as a music therapist, of course, how it can help people who are battling with significant challenges in their life. So today, in support of Supportive Living, Inc., I'm going to be talking about the emotional and social benefits of music therapy. So I think it would be worth thinking about, well, why is music special? Why is it one of the hottest sectors of neuroscience now? And here is a picture of flutes that were found in a cave, and they're dated to be 35 to 40,000 years old. We know that they predate agriculture, and it is thought by many that they predate language. And if you were in one of the caves, down the way a piece from those that had the flutes, and you could hear the flute music going on, what would you do? Hang out in the cave where you are, or go where the music is? So the thought is that music helped join us, to combine us, to allow us to not just survive, but to thrive as a species. And it's still that way today. The socialization that music engenders is incredibly supportive, it's incredibly productive from a brain sense, and it's absolutely necessary for brain function. So a lot of people will ask us who are musicians, who are music teachers, about music and this sense that there's a talent. And I'm saying this is a no talent zone. And here's why. When we are born, if I did this, the place of the missing but anticipated beat would be recognized by a newborn's brain, and it will react to it. We come into the world knowing where the beat is. It's something that can't be taught. There are very, very few people in the entire human population that is beat deaf. We also come in with music preferences because we spent the last trimester in the womb hearing sound outside of it. So when my daughter was in my womb, every day I was singing the song I wanted her to know. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And it continues. But if you expose a baby, a fetus, to a song, they will demonstrate recognition of that in the womb. So we come wired with preferences from exposure, but then we develop them throughout life, particularly through our teen years in our 20s. And everybody that I've ever worked with, whether they were intellectually disabled, brain injured, with dementia, they all had their music preferences. This is something that is important in our identities. And we are musical before we develop language and cognition. And in fact, now it's moving in the way that music is key to cognition. And for brain injuries, this should be very much considered. So I don't believe in talent anymore. I believe in aptitude. And most of the entire human population is average, below average, or above average. There's a very small percentage of people who are tone deaf or beat deaf, and therefore music is accessible to everybody, and it should be made available. And it strongly connects us to our emotions. It can alter our moods readily. So if you're needing to do something and get the energy together for it, you can use music that has medium energy, and then it goes to higher energy like Uptown Funk, and then that's going to help motivate you to get things done. When you're feeling sadly, you can take music that kind of meets you in that sadness, like maybe the blues, and then start to move the energy away from the blues, away from sadness, into something that's perhaps a little more upbeat emotionally and musically. And you can alter your mood so you can help your emotions and regulate them through music. And that's probably one of the key things a parent does for a child. And when you consider the disordered brain function that happens after a traumatic event, music is ordered. It helps the brain reset itself, to take in stimuli, to make sense of it, to predict what's happening. These are all really important cognitive issues. So when Ernesto starts you out with a nice steady beat and you're finding your place to add to it, and then he changes it a little bit and you start to change with him in what you're doing, that is absolutely great for the brain and aligning functions that are healthy. In music is joy, delight, and absolute hope. When brain injuries happen, you all know at supportive living how much repetition you have to do to make gains. How many times you go from sit to stand to practice that. How many times you have to work on saying phrases. And repetition is hard. But in music, repetition is really natural. By putting those phrases that you have to say into the music, you can practice them over and over again. And that's going to help rebuild neural circuits. And the neural circuits that get rebuilt are the ones that you need for the non-musical functions that have been impacted. So let me say that again, that music can help rebuild the circuits by which non-musical functions happen. And just like the people in the caves 45 to 50,000 years ago, music brings us together. And we know during this time of COVID that being together is of critical importance because our brains actually suffer from social isolation and our health suffers significantly from social isolation. And music brings us together and it brings us such joy. It's working the joy circuitry of your brain over and over again. And one of my favorite joyful groups is called Young at Heart. They're from Northampton, Mass. They have a film out that you can watch together. And they just had a live broadcast a week ago. And they are a group of elders who sing rock and roll and punk music. And it is absolutely marvelous. And now they're doing work in prisons and they're doing work with children's choirs. And so they're taking that social connection, that joyful connection to a variety of different populations who are in need of joy and connection. So I ask you, music has a purpose. Drive music for that purpose. What song will make you feel brave and resilient? When I was in chemotherapy, I used the song, I'll Never Walk Alone. And I never did, but I had to be reminded of it. And the music did that for me. And what songs make you feel happy and joyful? I have to say, Uptown Funk still does it for me. It's just such an upbeat tune and I'm moving around. And then what music makes you feel comforted when you need comfort? For so many in our culture here in Boston, it might be Schubert's Ave Maria. It might be a nice ballad from John Denver. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that it matters to you. And again, when you need to feel motivated, it can help you find that sense of purpose, get that traction for motivation. So I'll say in the mornings, I am terrible. In the mornings, I'm so slow. So I start off with music that's really slow, that matches how I feel. A little reggae comes next, and then something that's more upbeat. And I'm ready to work after that. I'm ready to do the work of grading papers and giving each of the people I serve my full attention. Music helps me be of purpose. It helps me be at my best by comforting me, motivating me, embracing me with joy, and giving me the courage to do what I don't always want to do. And you know, music is for life. It it is with us from womb to tomb, to the last moments of our life. And I've worked in hospice. It's deeply moving how music still reaches people. It's one of those constants that is always there and available for you. It reminds you of your heritage, the music of your youth, the music of your teens, the music that you built memories around. And those can be very helpful. And it helps us in sickness and in health. It helps us to be our best, to be socially engaged, to be cognitively engaged, um, and also in sickness, like with the brain injury, to be able to do the hard work of recovery. It's like a lifeline. It's like a lifeline that you can pull toward and find your sense of purpose, find your energy, find repairs to neural circuitry. And I have the picture of this lovely, lovely woman here, Alice Hertz Summer, who was a Holocaust survivor from Theresienstadt. She survived as a pianist, which she played for 3 hours a day until she died at 110. Music is with us for life. And so it is my hope that you all, as supportive living, will have the benefits of the music that serves you well, so that you can make the best recovery that you can, that you have the cognitive engagement of music, that you have the social engagement of music, that you lean into the drumming that you're doing with Ernesto, you make eye contact with one another and drum toward one another, and you have a marvelous time with the beauty and power that music is in each of our lives. Embrace it, run with it, work it so well. I wish you many, many blessings in your work, in your playing together, and in a life that's well worth living. All the best to supportive living.